a martial arts movie podcast.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Featuring drunken Thai boxer, Will.
Too bad you will die.
The also drunken wrestler, Mark.
I said I don't want trouble.
And drunken karate master, Zero.
You've lost your balls.
And now,
Talk. I know Kung Fu. You know, baby.
Fists of Fail.
Alright, Surf's Up, Cowabunga, eclectic, the other
90s
turtle
slang.
slang, the other 90s Ninja Turtle slang. Word to your mother. I don't know.
I don't think they ever said that.
I don't know. Well, okay, here, let's see. That is a perfect opener because that is perfectly sums up how I know so little about the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles, the first movie came out the year I was born. And I watched a movie like here and there as a kid, but like it never stuck. You know,
We also
Mania.
covered it without me.
Yeah. Oh,
Is this
yes.
is this one of our few retcon episodes?
Yeah. No, what do you mean retcon? That episode never existed, Sarah.
Was that from year one?
That was from our first year. From our first year
boy.
covering the show. We
Wow.
have since changed our format of the show. We talk about movies in, I think, much greater detail now, for better or worse. But yeah, we didn't have you. You're the only person on who has any sort of nostalgia or any sort of experience with the Ninja Turtles. And I to this day, after rewatching all these movies, because I did watch them before, but they had no influence on me as a kid. Rewatching them again in my 30s, I'm like, which one's Donatello? I still have to do that. I have to constantly remind myself.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have no history with the Ninja Turtles, so I have a very different experience with these ninjas in a half shell. Zero, tell me about your experience with the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I grew up in the perfect timing to be a young boy who would be interested in the Ninja Turtles. I got heavily marketed towards with it. I watched the cartoons, love the cartoons, and then the toy. I'm sure people know the story. Like they wanted to make it's based off of a comic book. They wanted to turn it into a toy line, and in order to sell the toy line, they needed to make the cartoon that could help promote the toy line. So the cartoon came out when I was a child, and I watched it heavily. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is about the story of mutated turtles, 4 turtles specifically, who got mutated by mutagen, or what they call ooze, in the sewer, along with their master / father figure. He is called Splinter. He was once a man, and then he got mutated because he was living around the rats to become a rat man. But in the movies, he was just a rat.
Yep, a pet rat
that just got mutated into a life-size, humanoid rat. And so what happened is this mutagen transformed these 4 turtles, and their master Splinter taught them the ancient art of ninjutsu, named them after his famous Renaissance painters, which I think only comes from the cartoon. They don't say that in the movies. And he gave them each a specific weapon to differentiate themselves, because in the comic books they're all like red bandanas, I think.
Yep.
And they all have different personality types, and I think that's kind of like the selling point when you're a kid. They're very, very distinct in their personality types. And when you're a kid, you're like, I like that one. Like, I like the orange one, or I like the red one because of the weapon or the personality types. They're goofy, they're silly, and they go on wacky adventures. They fight other mutants. They fight their main villain, who is named Shredder. He is a walking can opener, but he's also the head of the Foot Clan, which is a
parody
Japanese...
of the Hand.
Oh, parody of the Hand from Daredevil, yep. And what is his goal? Well, in the cartoons, his goal is I don't know, something to do with aliens and an alien brain.
What, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
He's
my
got it.
God.
He's got like a partner,
Uh-huh.
who is a brain from
Oh,
Dimension X.
Krang, right?
Krang, yeah. And
Okay. I
Krang
know
lives
that. Okay.
in a belly of a robot. It's so fucking bizarre. It's nice that the movies try to simplify it and boil it down as much as
Mhm.
possible, kind of removing like the alien backstory and whatnot, because it really goes overboard if you read the
Okay.
comics or watch the the cartoons and whatnot.
Man, yeah, I missed this boat. Clearly, but I mean, I only know some of these things like what is it, Baxter Stockman,
Yeah,
and wow, okay, that's a limitation of my my turtles knowledge actually.
like
But I know a lot
Bebop
of
and
this.
Rocksteady.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
yeah,
okay, I know them.
those
I
famous
know them
names. Yeah,
through like osmosis of the media, right?
yeah,
Like I think it's just kind of like entered the cultural zeitgeist. So
exactly.
like, I only know that. I don't know anything other than that. I know April O'Neil and her jumpsuit, yellow jumpsuit, and that's all I really
Yep.
know.
Mhm.
I gotta ask, watching these movies, is Raph supposed to be the main character? Because he almost always feels like in every movie we've covered, the quadrilogy, if you will,
Mhm.
he is the main focus of every story.
Yeah, he's probably. I think they do that because he's probably the most complex character out of all of them. He's the hothead. He's the troubled son. He's the one who has the most issues. He constantly goes off on his own, and he kind of has to come back to the fold all the time. So, like, that's just better for standing out, I guess.
Sure.
So he tends
Yeah.
to be the focus because of the fact that he's like that. Because Michelangelo is the party dude. He was actually my favorite growing up
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
because he was the party dude, and he had nunchucks, and I loved nunchucks as a kid. I don't know why.
Okay. All
But
right.
then you have Donatello, who does machines, and in college, my friend and I would always interpret that as he's like into like sex toys. Like he does
Oh God, no.
he does machines. Yeah, we were a bunch
Oh
of
no.
perverts. But anyway, no. He does machines because he's the nerdy one. He makes machines, not
Hmm.
does them. And then
Have you ever seen videos of like turtles like mating? Because like they
no,
make like they
no.
because they make the most like high pitched sound. They go, "Hey." It's like now that you said that, like that image of Donatella doing that is
Donatello
gonna be
doing
forever in
machines
my
like.
head. All
Oh
right.
God, where did this conversation go?
All right.
But then you have
We're talking about our favorites.
But then you have Leonardo, who is the leader, and
Yes.
like all leader characters, Cyclops included, nobody likes the leader. I
Yeah,
think,
he's the most boring, right?
yeah, I think in the CG animated movie, he has a lot more interesting character, while in the live action films, Leonardo is just like, I don't know, he's there to butt heads with Raph a
Sure.
little bit.
Sure. Right. So here's my take as a person who has no affiliation with the growing up with these movies. I hate to say it. I think Mikey and Donatello, they're there mostly for comic relief.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. If it was just Raph and Leo, it would be a lot drier. It'd
yeah,
just be nothing but like conflict, and you
yeah.
need some levity between them, right? But between the characters. So I can see why they needed all four of them to kind of have
Oh
this
yeah.
like perfect balance.
It is. It really is a perfect balance because they keep on going around in the circle. Like you
Yeah.
said, basically, it's like the leader argues with the hothead, and then the other two try to diffuse the situation. It's
Hmm.
weird because Michelangelo is the comic relief, but then it also falls on Donatello's shoulders as well when his personality is supposed to be more analytical and
Yeah.
smart.
He's an intelligent one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but in the movies, at least the live action ones, it doesn't. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
in the first movie, it doesn't seem like he's a smart one. In the second
Right.
and then the third movie, they really delve into him. Okay, yeah, he's the smart guy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've noticed that they all kind of interweave their personalities a little bit. Like the one who's like the stoic one, like Leo. He's not always stoic. He still has some like witty banter, like throwing out lines that like like a Mikey would do.
Yeah.
Or, like even Raph would be like kind of like chill sometimes. So there's, I guess, I guess like the later movies, especially because they're trying to just lighten up the tone.
Yeah. Well, they
for
all
some
kind of
reasons.
banter because they're brothers and they're teenagers technically. That
Okay.
and so like
okay.
they all kind of banter with each other, which is kind of fun. Some of the jokes land, some of them are just of the time.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
Oh boy, these movies are very early '90s. The original trilogy, at least. Let me just say this right off the bat because I obviously we have to talk about the first movie because the first movie is the one that is probably top of mind for everybody, right? It's everyone's favorite of the trilogy. I know your favorite's the third one, Zero, but but watching the first movie, and I barely even remember what I said when we talked about it the first time. I can reiterate that like I didn't grow up with it, but really what it boils down to is like I don't know how to feel about it. Like in all honesty, because there are some times when I watch this movie, I actually can't stand the movie. I actually find the movie very grating because of the characters. And then other days I'm like, oh, actually, I really do appreciate the movie. So it's like it's weird. It depends on my mood. It's one of those movies where I objectively appreciate it, similar in the ways that like I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? I think that's a great movie. I think it's great because of its technical achievement. But as a movie, I'm like, I don't love it. It's fine. It's a fine movie. I don't love the movie. I'm more interested in the making of. I'm more interested in the like how they're able to make the film and the final product that actually exists. But as a movie itself, I'm maybe that's the problem. I watched these when I was a little bit older too. So yeah.
I haven't seen these movies in a very long time, and I was very curious how I would feel about it because I grew up watching them. Mainly the second one I watched the most.
Oh, really? Okay.
I remember seeing the first movie, and we'll go back to staying on the first movie. And I remember thinking that it felt too adult because of the look. Like the movie feels like a noir. They go heavy on the shadows, and so I grew up with the cartoon. I thought it was going to be a lot more lighthearted and silly, and they do that sometimes. But the movie also takes itself very seriously, and for some reason, as a kid, I guess it was like a little too mature for me.
Okay, sure.
Like the look and then the tone of the movie, it was like a little too mature. I knew I liked it because it was the Turtles. I was like, oh yeah, I like it. But like something doesn't feel right about it. And I preferred watching the cartoons.
Right.
And so rewatching this now as an adult, like I really, really appreciate this movie now as an adult because of the live action trilogy. This feels like a movie where the second and third movie feel like they're pandering to the kids who like the cartoon.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's exactly what they were going with, right?
Oh, they're
cash grabs.
That's exactly what they were doing with all the movies because it is a children's IP. But the first movie feels like they were trying to elevate the source material of the cartoon, trying to kind of bridge the seriousness between the comic and then the cartoon. And when you look at it, it's so dark and it's serious with its tone. But as an adult, I really appreciate that. It feels more legitimate. It feels like it's not just for kids anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with you, except there are moments where it's still because the movie does straddle a line between being for a more mature audience and being more faithful to the source material comics, and then there's the ones who are the side of it which is catering to the people who grew up with the cartoon, so they want that like cheesy dialogue. It's clearly aimed at kids. That's the stuff that like it kind of grates me a little bit. I'm like, some of this writing is just like, I'm like, it's clearly meant for kids, and I don't know, it just feels tonal. It's just tonally, it's all over the place, and I think that's my major issue with the movie. And I know this is not a hot take. I feel like a lot of people have mentioned this before, and I mean, that's the thing. Like for me, it's like some days it grinds my gears more than others. So like today is one of those days where like after rewatching it, the second time this week, I'm like, it didn't bother me as much. But the first time this week, I'm like, wow, it's just something about the dialogue just like really rubbed me the wrong way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on my mood. Like if am I in the mood for something cheesy and fun? That's a weird thing about the first movie. It's not so much fun. It's not I don't find the movie like very fun, but it's like a very interesting movie. You know what I mean? The other movies are fun, but not good. But they're more like
they're having more
lighthearted tone.
Yeah, because
exactly.
they're lighter in tone. And so one thing we should point out for people who don't realize this, so the cartoon was animated. It was a 90s animated cartoon based off of a drawn comic strip by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. And so for the movie, it being live action, the turtles were men in suits designed by the Jim Henson Company. And so I think what also kind of weirded me out a little bit was the teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were played by adult men. And then also to kind of exaggerate that they were stronger than humans and more physically fit. They were, they're kind of muscular. And so it's a turtle head on a green muscular body. And then when you see the turtles, the men in suit turtles, alongside their human counterparts, they're bigger. And so as a kid, I never thought they were teenagers. That always kind of confused me. It felt more serious, at least in the first movie. It felt more serious because they were like human size. They were adult size. And for some reason, like I thought like if they were teenagers, they would be like smaller.
Right. It doesn't help that in some of the dialogue, they're like referencing some like things. I'm like, no child is gonna, no teenager is going to make.
They're making dated.
Like these weird, very dated references. I'm like, yeah, that's weird.
I didn't get any of those movie reference jokes that they were making as a kid. Upon rewatching it as I got older, I realized, oh, that's a reference to like a movie. Like a very old movie. Yeah,
in the second movie, one of the turtles, I forget which one, references Casablanca. I'm like, why would a teenager in the 90s know what Casablanca is? You know what I mean?
I mean, with children's movies now, they need to write jokes for adults, so maybe that's just what it is.
Yeah. This is a little bit more on the nitpicky side for me, at least. I'm aware of that. But
do we need to get into the story?
For the first movie,
so I kind of explained their origin story already, right?
All right. Sure. Should I give it a crack? I could give it a crack.
Give it a crack. I mean, don't explain the origin, I guess, because I already kind of went over.
No. But oh my God, and now think about it. The story's super simple, isn't it? Yep. It's the Shredder is leading the Foot Clan, and they want to go after the turtles because. Oh my God! No, they're going after April O'Neil at first because April O'Neil is a news reporter. She played by Judith Hogue. She is reporting on the existence of the Foot Clan, and that obviously ruffles Shredder's feathers because they're supposed to be hiding in secret because they're ninjas, right? They can't let the world know that their existence. And the Foot Clan are. This is a really important thing I want to mention before I forget that. Like the Foot Clan is recruiting teenagers and children. That's very important to be aware of because then when you realize that the whole movie is just teenagers fighting each other. So they're recruiting and such under the shadows. They go after April O'Neil and then Raphael saves her. But by doing so, they kind of expose their existence to Shredder, and then Shredder wants them gone. I think that's really the simple story of the first movie, isn't it? Is there anything even to add to that? The more I talked about it out loud, I realized, I'm like, wow, that's actually the simplest story I've ever summarized. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is the simplest version of the story. But we have the side characters like her boss's son Danny, who's also getting
gotten is recruited into the Foot Clan, and him having these like this internal conflict of like who's his real family, right? The movie has, I didn't notice this. I didn't notice any of this until rewatching it this time. The movie actually has themes of family woven throughout, as simple as it is. I appreciate that it's like this, because the Danny character, he's also a teenager, human teenager, who's conflicted with who his real family is, because he gets recruited and brainwashed by the Shredder into believing that they're his family, but they have the teenagers robbing people, doing crimes for them, and they're just essentially brainwashed. And then you have the turtles who are fighting for good. They're showing that they have a better family dynamic because of how they were raised. And it's like this conflict between like being raised and how you should deal with like the people who love you and, you know, your parental figures. And it's very subtle, but it's funny because like in other children's movies, I feel like they would bang you over the head with like, oh, that's bad parenting. This is good parenting. But this movie is just like, oh, no, it's there. It's there very, very under the surface, but it's there.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's kind of, I mean, that part is fine, I guess. I mean, Splinter playing the role of like, obviously the mentor, but him kind of foreboding or foreshadowing his ultimate demise, and it just never happens is just the weirdest part about this movie to me. It's like he keeps saying things like, I'm your father, I love you guys, but I won't be here forever.
Yeah.
And then and that's another thing, he gets kidnapped at a certain point in the movie, so the turtles are after looking for him, and it's like, there's stakes involved, and the entire time you're like, when's Splinter going to die?
It really feels like he's gonna die. He gets chained up. As a New Yorker, I fucking hate rats, but when you see that rat chained up and he looks so miserable and sad, I kind of felt bad. I mean, kudos to the voice actor and then the Jim Henson studio for making me feel sad for a rat.
Yeah, right. Oh, so you mentioned Jim Henson. I don't know if you want to talk any more about the story, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the animatronics or the costumes, or just like in general the look of the turtles. I mean, they're great. They really are great. I mean, supposedly this is Jim Henson's last theatrical film that he was associated with. He didn't like the violence in the movie. So it's funny that the last movie he worked on, he just didn't like. But whatever.
I don't understand why he agreed to do this, because
it was a favor, apparently.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was a favor to the director. But yeah, no, I mean, I did watch this when I was younger. I didn't watch it when I was young enough. I did watch it when I was younger, and I guess one thing I didn't appreciate back then was that they really did have like all these different masks for each one of the performers. Right, like if you are Donatello, you have your face, your head that has a lot more articulation with mouth movements, and really makes you feel like that you're talking and such, right? Like you're like really involved in the dialogue scenes. But then I really didn't think about it. And like, well, you can't have that animatronic robot head on you in the middle of a fight scene. I didn't think about those things when I was younger. It's like then we have like the Donatello head with the snarly face doing fighting, but then we do another cut, and now we have Donatello with the happy face. Like it's these are all different heads that they have.
Yeah, and it's all wires and animatronics and gears and motors in the shell, I believe. And they have people with remote controls kind of controlling the face and whatnot, so that they can emote and talk and act. And the actors in the suits had to know the lines so that they can move and pantomime to the performance. And it's crazy because we live in a day and age where we have made and seen CGI Ninja Turtles in a live action movie.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are hearkening to wanting real in-camera effects, and when you watch this, it's like, oh cool, we got it, and it actually looks very good for the 90s. Like it looks good. Like I would never say this looks, I wouldn't even say it looks dated. I think this looks good for 1990.
Yeah. it's funny because like some of those operated through like radio signals apparently. Maybe I'm butchering the story behind this, but apparently they were like they're shot next to an airport, and the signals from the control panel or whatever they call it,
Well, the frequencies were
the
matching the
frequencies.
airport.
Yeah, so it was like messing with the animatronics, and I thought that was actually kind of interesting. I don't know, that was a really funny piece of trivia.
Yeah,
and I know that there was like a nightmare to make this movie too.
Yeah, they didn't realize that for a while, and what happened is like the April O'Neil actress, she had said she would like be acting, and then suddenly like the Donatello animatronic would just like die, and she'd be like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Working with like just actually seeing the final product of this, and like but I was saying like in the action scenes, though they're obviously not using the animatronic heads, they're using like it's just a mask. It's just like something they don on, and kudos to the performers. Because I think Ernie Reyes Jr. is one of the performers. We have a lot more talent on behind the scenes as stunt people, but I think like it's still really impressive, like the way that they're moving.
Oh yeah,
right, in all these movies.
So like because all the animatronics were like in the shell, they had to design these special chairs that they could sit in when like they weren't actively shooting, because it was just such a laborious thing to stand around in. Like they couldn't just take it off. Like they had to be in the costume like for like hours on end. And so they sat in these weird like horse shaped chairs so that they can like kind of sit in it and like lean in it so it would be comfortable for them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it sounded like a nightmare.
Yeah, again, kudos to them. And then that's the thing about these films, is that I appreciate the hell out of them for the production, on the production side. So I really do have to excuse a lot of it in my head. I'm like, they move a little slow. Like, yeah, anyone would move really slow if you are lugging like 40 extra pounds of just of everything on you, right?
Right. Oh, what I didn't know is, so this is a Golden Heart production, and if you're familiar with Hong Kong productions, how they would shoot fight scenes is they would shoot at 24% or 22 frames a second, and then ramp it up to 24, so that the performers can move slower, but then it would look faster, or they would perform at normal speed and it will look even faster because they ramped up to 24. I didn't realize they also did this for any scenes the turtles were in, because the in-suit performers were moving like kind of slow, and so they needed to speed them up as well. So they also shot them at a lower frame rate and then sped them up, because it was just like they were just moving too slow apparently.
I saw that too. Right, that's actually really funny. And here's the thing about the second and third movie: they, as the series goes on, they slim down those costumes more, but the costumes just get worse and worse looking over time. So it's that trade-off.
The third movie for a reason, but we can get into that later.
I mean, just we still want to talk about the first movie a little bit more. I did mention Ernie Reyes Jr.'s, one of them, and he obviously was so talented and so beloved that he obviously became more of a on-screen presence in the second movie.
Well, he became his own character.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also because they want to replace Casey Jones, right? Because he was deemed too violent.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention Casey Jones is a character. He is a vigilante in a hockey mask, and he beats up people in the park. But they're muggers. So it's okay.
But they're teenagers. It's like, I'm all grown. Is he supposed to be a grown ass man, or is he supposed to be a teenager too?
Well, no, he's an adult because April O'Neil is an adult, and he is the love interest for April O'Neil. So.
Okay, so he's a grown ass man beating up teenagers.
Yes, but it's New York City, so
in the 90s. That's true. That's true. So here's the thing. Well, I mean, I don't think we're gonna really go into the action for any of these movies in particular, right? Like as we normally do. Before we even jump into like the next movie, we were going to talk about, like, kind of glance over the action here and just like say like our piece. But like, I don't think we're gonna go into like the very specifics of the action, right? Like we normally do in the Patreon section.
Yeah, so it's weird. These movies are martial arts adjacent because of the subject matter. It's very difficult to say that these are martial arts films. They're children's movies first, but because they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they perform martial arts. They technically practice the art of ninjutsu, and then they have various weapons. Leonardo, the dual katanas, Raphael, the dual sais, Michelangelo, dual nunchucks, and Donatello, one bow staff. Why didn't he get double bow staffs?
Well, okay, right. So here's my take on that. I was watching all the movies, maybe less than the first one, but I think more so in the second and third. Donatello probably has the most interesting choreography, almost very consistently in every one of the movies. It's not, it has nothing to do with his character. It's just like maybe it's
wasn't Ernie Reyes Jr. Donatello?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's just like the usage of the bow staff, but also like for whatever reason, it's always Donatello who has the best choreography throughout all three movies.
I didn't pay attention to which one I thought had the best, but that's
yeah. Well, it's the most complicated, right? What actually I'll say, anyone who's a Leo fan, he has the least interesting.
Well, he
in every one of the movies
because
he's wearing swords.
He's swinging around dual katanas, and sure you can say sais could stab as well, but a little more of a defensive weapon. But Leonardo wielding dual katanas, like I think there's only one shot in the first movie that I can recall where he actually takes a swipe at one of the Foot Clans and they kind of like sweep the legs with it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's like one of the most, I mean, that should probably cut his legs off, but it doesn't. And then
the blunt swords.
And then he gets like a slice off on Shredder at the end.
Yeah, which doesn't really draw blood either.
I mean, yeah, it's a kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie, yeah. Yeah, Donatello easily has the worst choreography, and I'm not here to shit on any turtle.
You just said he has the best. What are you talking about, Donatello?
Oh no! Wow, see, this is what I mean. I always fuck up with the turtles. Leo has the worst choreography. Objectively.
Yeah. No, I think I could see that. I'm blanking on the 3 live action movies, like who has the best, who has the worst, but maybe so. Like in the second movie, he has nothing to do because as people, I mean, we're jumping around a little bit, but in the second movie, they weren't allowed to use their weapons at all, and it's very, very evident because in one scene, Leonardo throws his swords up into the ceiling and uses it to kind of drop kick somebody. It's like you're not even using the advantage you have. That's one thing you'll notice in this movie that they use in all of them, they use their weapons pretty sparingly because what happens is they'll like do a couple slights with their weapons and then it'll turn into round kicks, spinning crescent kicks, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
It's mainly kicks because it needs to look cool on screen.
Yep.
But the weapons look cool, but they can't really do too much with it because it's also a kids movie and they don't want kids to use a weapon and start, killing their friends with it. But then why did they even turn this into a kid's show in the first place?
Yeah, that's the big mystery, right? Oh man, I have something for that when we talk about the second movie.
Sure.
Because nunchucks is the major issue here, right? Because because that was the one that was like the one weapon that was censored more than anything else. Not the 2 sharp swords. The stupid nunchucks is too dangerous because European audiences can't stand it.
Didn't that get banned?
It got banned
in the US as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think the US, but I think in the UK it did. UK, right? Okay. If or rather, I might be mixing that up. Actually, you might be right. I think in the UK, what they did was they just renamed it to the Hero Turtles. And again, this is just me like looking this information up. I didn't live this experience, but I always thought that was really just so silly that there was just all this paranoia and panic over like the turtles are too violent, and that kind of leads us to the second movie. We might talk about the first movie again, but that kind of leads us to the second movie. The second movie is a watered down action. Well, no, a watered down violence and tone version of the first movie.
And they
right?
turned the lights on.
Oh my God.
Holy
it is
crap.
such a bright movie.
Okay. So I didn't mention this in the first movie, but since we're going into the second movie, and I just
Yeah, why not?
mentioned that the lights are on in the second movie, that actually kind of ruins the. Okay, I don't want to say ruins. It
ruins it.
I realized so when I said the first movie was like really dark and really serious in its tone, and because they really there's such harsh shadows all over. It feels like a noir film. And then when you get to the second movie, they're like in broad daylight. Basically, every scene is so well lit. And while the animatronics got better and the turtle suits got more expressive with how they were speaking and acting and whatnot, it kind of breaks the illusion of realism that the first movie had, because hiding them in the shadows actually helped blend them into the environments a lot better and make it feel like a real movie. And now you just see everything in broad daylight. And even though the costumes still look pretty good, it's something about that first movie where they're just these harsh shadows that just make it blend into the screen, into what you're seeing a lot better. Now it really looks like men in suits.
Yeah. It's kind of like that effect in like, well, I'm going to reference like Jurassic Park, which came out after these, right? But Jurassic Park, like what makes those, like that T-Rex scene work so well is that it's raining and it's in the fucking dark.
Yeah.
Right. That T-Rex looks great because it's appropriate.
Well, that's why
it's menacing.
That's why a lot of CG, like earlier CG stuff happened at night because it helped it to blend easier. Like a lot of times they didn't want to do this stuff in the day because it made it so evident that it was CGI. And even though there was really a man in a suit acting with people in front of the camera, it doesn't, your brain is like telling you like, yes, that's a man in a suit. And that is very, very evident in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah, man, that opening is like so. I always thought that was like so silly. After Ernie Reyes Jr. like does this great bit of choreography, kicking and sweeping, and it's amazing. Yeah, Ernie Reyes Jr. is very talented as a fighter. He always has the weirdest acting. But let's not talk about that for a second. He's after he does this thing, he gets swarmed with a bunch of people. And it looks like he has no idea what to do next. And then the turtle's just behind him. They just run up to screen and they just do the most awkward intro. They just jump in the air, and it's like the brightest mall lighting. Like we're in the middle of like a shopping mall or something like that. Yeah. And it's just like the weirdest intro. And yeah, it like really highlights the imperfections in the suits and stuff. Not to say that's shoddy craftsmanship, but sometimes you need the lighting and the sets to work with the suits. And that's the problem with I feel like a lot of this movie, and maybe a little bit of the third movie too. Right? Yeah, the first movie didn't really have this much of an issue, right?
Yeah. So Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, it feels like maybe they were listening to complaints from children and we're like, let's make it more like the cartoon. And because this movie is so much sillier, just evident by that opening scene. They're barely using their weapons anymore. They're fighting with toys. There's so many cartoon sound effects when they hit people. I mean, I'm going into the action a little bit, but I noticed one of the things they did to lighten up on the action or deter from it is they have the opening credits like kind of blocking some of the moves or like swiping across the screen during some of the action moves, so you don't really see it. And I realized that that's a very clever way to like tone down some of the violence. But
I think yes, you're right. In general, the movie tones down the violence quite a bit, and they do little wacky things here and there. But I think it's a tiny bit over exaggerated, because I still feel like there's moments where like you can still see they're fighting, right? Yeah, maybe less with their weapons, but they're like actually engaging with their opponents, and like really kicking at each other. It's like, okay, there's contact there. it's not completely devoid of violence. It's just toned down a bit. But I feel like people say it's like, oh, it's just like now it's like baby toy, baby the Ninja Turtles. You know, it's not quite that, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. So story wise, I didn't realize I'm so stupid as a kid. I didn't realize this technically takes place like the next day from the end of the first movie. And so if you didn't, you know, like, I mean, we have to technically spoil the end of the first movie, but Shredder falls off a roof, goes into a garbage truck, and Casey Jones pulls the lever and technically
just commits murder.
Crushes this man inside a garbage truck. And they're like, yay, we killed him. Cowabunga, we killed him. And so in the sequel, he's like, haha, bitches, I'm not dead. And his hand reaches out.
Yeah, like how? How did he survive that?
Who knows? Well, they showed his Shredder helmet is just mangled now instead of nice and pristine. So Shredder's back and he wants revenge on the Turtles. It also turns out that the company that created the mutagen, or also known as the ooze, that transformed the Turtles into what they are today, they are trying to clean up their act because I guess they got caught with the fact that they made this mutagen. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to dispose of all the canisters of mutagen, which I really think just means they're flushing it into the ocean. So
that's no different from reality.
I know. When I watch this, I was so disappointed, actually. But so the mad scientist, or maybe not mad scientist, but the scientist is trying to dispose of the last canister of ooze. And because Shredder is back and he wants revenge against the Turtles, he finds out that mutagen can mutate, or the ooze can mutate. So they try to steal the last canister of ooze. The Turtles fight with them. And what ends up happening is Shredder wins, and they create new mutants, Toka and Razor, which is a alligator snapping turtle and a wolf, respectively. And the Turtles need to fight themselves. It's a bigger, badder version of themselves, right?
Yeah.
I
guess so.
Only they're stupid. The new mutants are bigger, they're badder, but they're technically babies. And so they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? They're a physical menace, right? And I think on paper it's like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like it's a matter of speed versus strength, right? The ninjas are ninjas. They're fast and they're athletic or nimble. And then there's these non-Bebop and Rocksteadies that are just like all brawn. They don't do anything. All they do in every scene is grab the Turtles and throw them. So like there's any scene with them, like, yep, I know exactly how this is gonna go. It's not gonna be interesting whatsoever. So like I any scene with them, I'm just gonna glance over. There's nothing to talk about there. It's like not until they get a fire extinguisher thrown into their mouth and that they were defeated, which is like, that's okay.
Yeah,
sure,
they do
sure.
the bullshit pseudoscience. Yeah, where it's like, oh, if we
carbon dioxide.
Yeah, if we take the cosine and we add the integer here, we can create the formula to calculus.
You know,
convex the crankshaft, and it turns, you know, it demutanizes them, or they start making up words, and as the audience we're just like, sure. I
took algebra once, yeah. So whatever. Like the new villains are not interesting. I know there's a huge waft of people who are just like upset that Bebop and Rocksteady weren't in the movie.
Yeah.
So
that was confusing to me.
Yeah. I mean, apparently that was Eastman Laird's decision. They didn't like they didn't want to veer into the direction of being the cartoon, so it's their fault.
Well, it's also,
so you can blame them.
It's also they probably wanted more toys, like different.
Everything comes back to that, right? Yeah. So what do we have left? We have the Shredder. The Shredder's back, and he sucks this time. He's just the worst, because like, remember the first movie, he is so menacing and he kicks the Turtles' ass.
Oh yeah.
like hard. And it's actually like I remember watching this when I was younger, not that young, but younger, and then watching it again now. I'm like, wow, like this is like how you set up a proper villain, right? He is winning, and this is one of the few examples where like I believe it when it's a 1 versus 4, and the one is just that much better,
Yeah.
and you believe it. Like I was sold, but then this time around, he went from like a villain to a sideline nuisance. Like he doesn't do anything in this movie.
Well,
he's just kind of complaining in the background.
he's the mastermind behind creating the New Mutants to kill the Turtles because he wants revenge because they crushed him in a garbage truck.
But like he's just useless in this movie.
He is. No, he
Right?
is. He's not really a villain. And then once they go up against him at the end, that I was so disappointed. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I could just spoil this because I don't think it really matters. It's such a tiny detail. But he drinks the mutagen at the end to face off against the Turtles, and he becomes Super Shredder. He becomes this ultra jacked, even taller, more spikes everywhere. I love spikes.
How does mutagen make your costume have more spikes?
Oh, doesn't matter. I loved it. I love that design of Super Shredder as a kid. I look at it now and I was like, oh, this is still pretty cool, actually. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be an epic fight. And how does it end? Well, I'm going to spoil it. The Turtles don't know how to beat him, so they leave. They jump into the water, and Shredder just pushes the dock down, and all the wood just bonks on his head, and he dies.
Yeah.
He kills himself.
See, watching the movie again, I'm like, is he dead? I can't even tell because you see the fake out. He busts his hand throughout the rubble, and they're like, oh no! But then his hand goes limp, and my brain is thinking, oh, he's unconscious. He's going to prison. That's where my brain went. Like he can't be dead. He got crushed in a freaking garbage compactor.
Yeah,
in the last movie.
why would this kill him? Well,
Yeah.
I think it's like Donatello, or one of the Turtles, says like, no way he could have survived that. Implying that the hand is coming up and then it goes down, so that means he did not survive. So he's dead.
But he could have survived that. He could have just been knocked unconscious.
Nah, he's dead.
You're sure.
dead.
For convenience, he's dead. Just for convenience, he's dead.
Yeah.
I believe you there. Yeah. Okay. But regarding the second movie and talking about the action as a whole, I weirdly like this one the most. It's only, and there's one particular reason. Only one. It's because Ernie Reyes
of course.
Jr.
Yeah.
He steals the show with this whole movie.
Does. He is the only thing kind of linking this to martial arts, because he's doing, he's fighting. He's actually fighting in what he's got like two fight scenes, honestly. But
yeah,
he's just so good. And I know you don't like his performance. I love it. I mean, I grew up with him, so like I kind of like it. He's so bright-eyed, and he's happy to be there. Like he's really happy to be there. So yeah,
I will never take that away from him. But his performance always comes off as really well. I forget that movie that we covered of his where he was God, we covered this very early on.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, but like that's like perfectly sums up his acting ability. It's never been great, but like I can't diminish the fact that he's just one of the greatest martial arts like on-screen fighters, even if he's not always leading the roles. And here's like he's just up front and center, like both behind the suit and in front of the camera. So it's like just more Ernie. I actually think forget the Ninja Turtles for a second. I think for me, I only like this one in terms of an action movie. I think I like this one the most because of that. Just for that reason alone. There's just a lot more exposure to Ernie Reyes Jr.
Right.
Not the best movie. Obviously, the first one still takes that cake.
So yeah, action wise, it's kind of similar to the first movie as well, where I mean we kind of mentioned like they can't fight with their they can't fight as much with their weapons, so they're just doing a lot of kicks. They're doing a lot of like action related stuff, like playing dodgeball with the canister of ooze. And then later at the end of the movie, they bust into
best.
a Vanilla Ice concert.
The best scene in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's as dumb as it is. Like, I love that scene. I know it's
I do too, actually.
I know it's nostalgia fueled, but it's so funny that they bust. They're in like a construction site. They get thrown through some doors, and in the doors is a Vanilla Ice concert going on. Concert stops, but the fighting continues. And the fighting sparks an idea in Vanilla Ice's mind to impromptu rap over them fighting. It's brilliant. I kind of love it.
Without the nostalgia, I could still say I love this scene. It is hilarious. Vanilla Ice. You know, one thing I realized is that he only wrote enough of the song for one refrain, because he repeats it twice. He's just like, go, before he says, no, go ninja, go ninja. That, like, and then he does a little rap. And then he repeats it again because they didn't write any more of a song for it for this scene.
I don't remember the song at all. I just remember the scene.
I don't know. I'm not rapping for Vanilla Ice right now. Just go back and watch it. It's just hilarious that, like, it's like a half-baked idea, but they put it in the movie. And I will say, I mean, some of the action is not bad either. It's silly.
Well, the problem is, and here's a review of the action for anything with Toka and Razor, is there's no action. They're just too big. They try to kick them, they try to punch them, they have to trip them because they're just too big. They're just big lumbering monsters, and they're just big guys in suits. So like you can't do anything, and they can't take their weapons and just stab them because it's a kids movie. So like they have to literally trip them with drum, oil barrels, and then get them on their backs and fire extinguish their faces. But then once the foot come in, there is the tiniest moment of fun choreography because it's going along to the music. They're fighting, they're dancing at the same time. Like, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
And then Shredder comes in and he's like, no, the movie needs to be about me.
Oh god, it wasn't really about him, but now he's like, yeah, it's about me now.
Yeah.
And I love this because he's holding the canister in his hand. He's like, haha, like you can't do anything about this, suckers. And then Ernie Reyes Jr., this is so fucking funny to me. He's like across the room, like 50 feet away. He's like, hold on. He's running really, he's like running, but not like super fast. He's just running. Then he does a flip onto the stage. Then he kicks the canister out of his hand. It's like, you didn't see that coming. It's like, you had all this time to react to that.
He did see it coming, and he still got him.
He's just like, what? I didn't expect that. Like, I just think that's so fucking funny. But that's actually where we already talked about the way that the second movie ends. Yeah. So we have no choice but to subject you to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh boy.
No subtitle. No subtitle. Everyone thinks there's a subtitle, but it's not Ninja Turtles in Time. That's the game.
Yeah, I guess Turtles in Time could work, but you're right. No subtitle. Ninja Turtles 3. So this movie technically takes place like I think somebody described it as like maybe like years after the second movie, because they technically defeat Shredder in the second movie, and he's technically dead. I'm gonna say he's technically dead. And so in this movie, the Turtles don't have an adversary or really anything to do in New York now. They're training, they're dancing. I guess maybe that's a remnant of the second film. And this movie has the most fucking complicated plot for a kids movie. Holy crap. This
Well,
plot is so complicated. Like, I can understand, like, okay, some magical device sends them back to feudal Japan. Like, cool. But the rules of time travel in this are actually like mass displacement as well, because if you're holding the time travel device, you can only switch places with the person of the same exact mass. So April gets sent to Japan and some guy from Japan gets sent to present day New York. But in order for the turtles to go save her, coincidentally, when the four of them hold a time travel device, four other guys from Japan travel back. It's like, why did you complicate it this much? Just make it a fucking door. They go through the time travel door.
like a little phone booth.
Yeah, it's
Like you're like Doctor Who. Yeah. Not Turtle in Time. Ninja Turtles 3 is the black sheep of the franchise, right?
Yep.
It is
for many reasons.
Let's go back. For many reasons. Let's go back. Production wise, Golden Harvest knew that this movie would be a stinker.
Oh, yeah.
So what they do, but they knew that it wouldn't do well because they
read the script.
That no, not even before that. They actually knew before production even started that Turtle Mania has kind of died down, right? This is like 93, something like that. It's dying down, but they want to do something with the IP. So they're like, all right, let's make one last movie, but we won't give you the budget. Just make something. And then that's what this is, right? It kind of explains pretty much everything, right? The fact that they didn't go with the Henson Company anymore, even though Jim Henson's not around. They went with, I'm assuming they went with all effects because, it's one, like their price tag isn't as high. Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. We have to talk about the look of the turtles because like, I can understand like, like it's a different company and they're making their quality of the suits might not be as good, right? Whatever. I can excuse that. But why do they have liver spots? I've never understood that. Like, why do they like that? That was intentional. You put them on their face.
I think that's a attribute of turtles. I wouldn't say it's liver spots. I think it's just some turtles have spots, so they were trying to differentiate them.
But they didn't in the last movies.
I don't know, man.
The teenage jaundiced Ninja Turtles.
So so to just elaborate, the animatronic suits are the worst of the three in this because of the budget, and it shows. It feels like these are like TV animatronics.
Yeah. Oh man,
it feels like
absolutely.
It's right from like a TV budget. They're not as expressive. They're not as emotive. I feel like they couldn't get lip syncing with these animatronics, so it's just like a flapping mouth a lot. Where the other turtles, they could like actually enunciate. You can see different lip movements. You can see tongue movements sometimes. This is just a bop, bop, bop. This is a Muppet now. Bop, 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 bop. And that's them talking. And it's even brighter sometimes in this movie. Like that opening scene, the turtles are so fucking well lit.
Yeah.
You just see all the flaws now.
Well, this is at least the second movie has moments of like having that like darker noir look. The first movie is nothing but that, right? Second movie,
well, it actually takes place at night in a few times. So basically, when they're in the construction site or the finale in the club, like that works so much better because of the lighting.
Yeah, here we don't have any of that.
They're
everything's in broad daylight.
Broad daylight almost the entire movie.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, it's also the most stale looking movie, right? It's like it also takes place mostly in feudal Japan, right?
Pennsylvania.
So yeah, Pennsylvania. But like it's mostly in the wilderness, and like it doesn't have a distinctive look to it. Anything that's taking place in modern day. It's like, it's just very sterile apartment buildings and stuff, like sound stages essentially, right? But then you go into the feudal era and it's just the wilderness. But there's no like defining look to the movie. Yeah. It's a very boring movie to look at.
It is
very,
very boring to look at.
Yeah.
And it is very boring to sit through.
Well, just to add on that one more time before we talk about the experience in the movie, the turtles are green. they're in the wilderness. Everything is green. And also, a lot of times they have samurai gear on, even though they're turtles. They have samurai
that's
gear.
to get by the lip syncing because they cover their mouths with the samurai like mouth guard, and so it's just like bobbing heads. so the animatronic people don't have to do any work at that point. Like this, they're saving on budget.
Well, and they're wearing that in the fight scenes too. But I can imagine myself as a Ninja Turtles stan or a kid. I'm like, oh, I want to see Mikey fight. Which one's Mikey? Because they're not using their weapons sometimes. And so I was like, I don't know who that is. Which one's fighting?
Okay, no,
right.
That's
There's
fair
no
enough.
colors on screen.
The iconic colors that they're all given is a lot harder to see in this one. Strangely enough.
Yeah. But you are absolutely right. The movie is very long. It feels long because it feels long because there's a lot that happens, but then nothing happens too.
Too much story. like I don't know, like the first and second movies are so simple to like boil down. He wants revenge. You're like the second movie. And then so he creates 2 new mutants and they have to fight and then defeat them. Like perfect.
Right.
What's the story of this?
Oh my God. They found a scepter. Like April O'Neil just pulls a scepter out of her ass within the first 3 minutes of the movie. I was like, I found this at a Marshalls. I found this at TJ Maxx, and because they didn't have the time or effort to like flesh that out. I found this, and it immediately sends her back in time, and then they have to go save her. Right. But then every time they do, anyone travels in time, they do a swapperoo with someone who existed in the previous, in the time that they're traveling to.
Yes. I said this. When what happens next?
Oh yeah. I forgot you said that. I actually forgot you said this because the movie is just like, it just melted my brain.
So they have to save April O'Neil, but it gets so much more complicated when they get to Japan.
Yeah, but then there's like a British guy. There's a British guy, and I thought he was a cowboy at first. But like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. That's so super anachronistic. But it's like, oh no, he's just a British man in Japan, and I think it has something to do with trade.
He's trying to sell guns to the emperor.
Okay, all right, okay, that's fine. But like, I don't know. So some of the imagery they give him later is like cowboy.
The man in Japan who switched places with April, he has a love interest who is also leading the rebellion against the Japanese emperor. And so like, oh God, like it's just too much.
Yeah. Sorry,
okay, so the turtles go back, they bust April out, and there's also a Casey Jones lookalike.
His like ancestor,
maybe? Because Casey Jones returns, and it's so funny. No, the actor and the character return, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna bust some heads," and they're like, "Sorry, we're going back in time," and he's like, "Okay." he stays in the present, but I guess they like the actor enough. They gave him a character in the past that is maybe his ancestor, and he's just not doing anything. He's a traitor.
Yeah, but I actually don't know how that resolves. How does that resolve? Like, I don't like. I'm watching it again. I'm like, he betrayed them for some reason, and then he double crosses because he's a good guy, and then the movie's just over.
Yeah. Oh no.
Before I know it, the movie's
and then he's
over.
gone. Yeah. Bye bye to that guy.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to add more to this movie, but there's really not a ton to add. From a movie viewing experience, it's bad. It's definitely bad. I think it's hyperbole to say it's the worst thing they've ever seen. If you were a Ninja Turtles fan growing up,
it's the worst thing of the 3 live action films. Easily. It's because the story, it's overly complicated. Anytime you're not with the turtles, it is just humans talking about something that I just could not care about. Anything relating to the guy trying to convince the emperor, whomever, to sell to buy the guns and them needing it to squash the rebellion. I don't even know. Like I can't even remember. It's just so annoying.
Just listen to yourself for a second. Everything you just described, nothing about that sounds like a kid's story or a Ninja Turtles story. It sounds like a political period piece movie.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, with the turtles jumping into time.
Yeah.
And it's not interesting for it's not age appropriate either.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't they didn't take any source material from previous like comics. This is a completely original idea, and they didn't have any recognizable villains. So I was like, what do you come up with? Oh, let's open up our textbook. Like I have a history book over there. Let's maybe something from there. It's very, very dull movie to sit through. I think that's actually my only, not only, but that's really the big flaw with this movie, right? It becomes just a really boring movie to sit through. Yeah. But then we get to talk about the action.
Okay, wait. Okay, so before we get into the action,
okay, you have one more piece.
I want to say there's two things that I think this movie probably does better. Maybe not does better. There's two things that I like about this movie. And so the first two movie, we have our four main characters, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael. They're very defined in their character traits, right? And so those two movies, there's no need to deviate from that. And so we never give them any character change or motivation or anything really, because they're just these archetypes that we stick to. And that is present throughout those first two movies. Yeah. I'll say that happens in the third movie. There's still those archetype characters, but they tried something different, and I kind of appreciate this. It happens at the very end of the movie, and I was like, I don't know if this works, but at least they're trying. So basically what happens is the Michelangelo, the fun-loving party guy, realizes he's not happy living in New York because he has to be in hiding. And he feels like he's more accepted in feudal Japan. Like he's not a monster, he's not an outcast. And I think they're also implying that he might be in love with one of the female characters. And so he wants to stay in Japan. And they have this whole conversation about it. And it's kind of like a sticking point at the end of the movie because he doesn't want to go. And then it kind of convinces Raphael that he also doesn't want to go. And now it's dividing the brothers. And I realized, wow, they're kind of elaborating on the characters a little bit. It just sucks that I don't like this movie because this is like the most some of the more interesting character stuff that they've done.
Well, everything you just described happens in the last 5 minutes.
I know.
What, like, if they set this up earlier, like this is a major point of contention, as like a major conflict within each of the characters, it would have made for a more interesting movie. But when this happens at the last 5 minutes, I'm like, why isn't this movie over yet? That was my only question.
Yeah.
Like, why is this movie still going? I think they threw that in there maybe to pad out the runtime. I think that's what that is. Because I don't think there's any other reason to do that. Because like it doesn't really resolve in a satisfying way. It's like
it doesn't.
Well,
the female character's like, I'm a human woman. You're a turtle. I mean, she doesn't say this, but it's heavily implied. She's like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. You got to go back with your brothers, and they're just like, oh. And it's weird because he goes back to New York and he's actually depressed. And the only reason it ends on a happy note is because they start playing dance music and Splinter has a lampshade over his head. Like that's it. They just ignore the fact that he's sad about not being happy in New York City and being this outcast, this freak.
That is a perfect analogy for the 90s. Like if you are depressed, whatever, just dance.
Dance. Put a lampshade on. just
dance your problems away. Yeah. The mental health's not an issue.
Okay, so that is the That is one of two things that I
one
thought
thing.
that the third movie had something interesting going for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the second thing now, upon rewatch of this movie, is I think I might like the action in the third movie better than the first two movies. There are
Okay.
actually longer, I don't want to say long, there are longer moments of choreography if you were to just look at like how they did the action with the turtles compared to how they did it, I feel, with the first and second movie.
Okay. Interesting
And
take.
if you like the turtles using their weapons, I believe the third movie has the most weapons use of all the turtles overall, because
Sure.
in the third movie, they're in feudal Japan and all the Japanese enemies actually have weapons as well. So
Yes.
Leonardo is allowed to fight back with his swords. Raphael actually uses his
That's true.
size. I don't think he really uses his size in any of the movies, honestly. Like, you never
Right.
see
I mean,
him
this-
like do anything with it. Like, he throws the sai at the lamp, and then April O'Neil picks up the sai. Like, I can't recall him actually using it. And in this movie, he
That's
uses
true.
it as a defense weapon. And then Donatello is actually spinning the bow staff more, doing a little more choreography with it. Michelangelo, it's probably even with Michelangelo, like with his use of the nunchakus throughout the movies. But then even in the beginning of the movie, they're doing forms with their weapons. Like, that's it. Like, this movie has the most weapon stuff. So if you like the Ninja Turtle weapons, this movie has the most of it.
Okay. I still think I prefer the second movie's overall action. It's funny how like both of us are coming off by saying that the first movie does not have the best action. but I think the second one for me has the more interesting choreography. But again, that's mostly because Arnie Reyes Jr. I think you're right. You're still right. Like weapons wise, the third movie is superior.
It just has the most weapon stuff because they can actually use it against their adversaries.
I guess
Leonardo has a katana fight with the I don't think it's the
main boss.
Daimyo.
I don't know. The actor who played the voice for Uncle in Jackie Chan Adventures. That's how I know that actor from.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I never know that actor's
anyway,
name.
the final boss, he actually has a katana fight against him. It's simple choreography. It is still, they are kind of doing that X crossing a little bit. It's not as bad as Blade, where in Blade they're like cutting back. In this, it's like, okay, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the most weapons work. If you like the Turtles doing weapon stuff, it's got that. Like, that's all I could.
it's got
it. I mean, Leon. Yeah. There's some okay moments of choreography.
I love your positivity here
okay
with the third movie. Yeah, I think I don't have anything too specific about like what I can appreciate about the third movie. Honestly, I don't appreciate much about the third movie at all. But I think it's greatly exaggerated how bad the movie is. It's just boring.
That's the problem. It's boring
and stuff.
It's pretty boring. It's not. It's not the worst thing. But when you compare, when you watch them all in succession, like pretty quick, pretty soon, like we did, like day after day after day, it's very clear the third movie is the worst. The budget is holding it back. The story is holding it back.
This is the one movie that had just made me have so many questions, right? Like the second movie is cheesy, but if you can just get over the fact that like tonally it's a different movie than the first, I'm like, okay, not so many questions, except the fact that, Vanilla Ice is performing next to a construction site. That's like the only question I really have. With this one, it's like I have so many questions. Like, suspension of disbelief is just like that radar is just like off the charts. And it's like, why does no one have a language barrier? Like, you're in feudal Japan. Like, why is everyone able to talk to each other? I don't understand.
1603. Yeah, no, none of those people should have been speaking.
Everyone speaks English.
I know. They have to explain so much in the dialogue when you listen to it, because there's no inferring anything. They're like, oh, if we do this, then we can do this to get back in time. Oh, we have to make sure we get back at this time. Otherwise, we're never going to go back home. It's like, wait, how How would you know that?
I don't know. But then the movie just does it, and it ends. And I don't know. I will say the one stupid moment of the movie that like I think I watched once and I was like, that's pretty stupid, but it's kind of cool, is when they do the high foot.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm calling this out. It's like they're high fiving, but with their feet, so they're just kind of like
They hook
kicking
kick
each other.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like I'm like that is so stupid, but that's kind of
Kinda
awesome.
cool, yeah.
But then that's the Ninja Turtles, the original trilogy.
That is the live action 90s
Original.
Ninja Turtles movies.
Yes, but this is not the end of the story.
Technically not. No.
Technically
So,
not.
does that mean we're going to go into the Patreon section?
Yes. Today's episode is a little different. We are, because these movies are kind of lacking in the action department, or rather, the action's not something you can dive into the way that we like to dive into. Because as great as these movies can be, or not be so great, the action department's like kind of lacking, right? So now we can finally talk about the 2007, right? 2007 CGI animated movie, TMNT. And we're going to talk about this exclusively in the Patreon section. So if you guys are interested at all about us breaking down this finale, or the way that we ended this original story with our beloved Ninja Turtles, then yeah, you can consider subscribing to us on Patreon. There you get all these bonus episodes. I'm sure you guys have heard this before. You can listen to our other episodes, our other quick jab episodes, where we talk about certain movies in much shorter duration. It's not going to be another 2 hours that you'll be listening to us. But yeah, you get a lot of more exclusive content there. And this might be a good time to plug that we are now officially posting all these videos, including our quick jabs and members only content, on YouTube. So you can all catch our content there as well.
Yep.
Is there anything else I need to plug here, Zero? Because I'm always bad at remembering all these things.
No, I think you got it all. So if you want to hear us talk about TMNT, the CGI film that technically continues the story, consider subscribing, because we're going to go into it now.
So that's Ninja Turtles.
That's TMNT. Hey, we made it through 4 Ninja Turtles movies.
God.
My goodness.
This was a rough one. This was a rough one.
This is fun. I like this.
Yeah. I mean, I know your nostalgia.
You should have never left me out of that original conversation. But hey, if you want to hear that, you could go into our archives, because we're in year 7.
Year 7, yeah. They're nearing 8 now.
In
only a couple months. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles quadrilogy, if you want to call it that.
I mean, I think it's technically trilogy, because the first 3 are live action. This one is a loose sequel to those. But hey, quadrilogy, sure, why not?
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like we talked about this, but I don't think I added too much to the conversation. The overall Ninja Turtles conversation that everyone's already had. Like, everyone knows that the third movie's awful. Everyone knows that the second one is a weak imitation of the first movie, which very much catering to kids. And then the first movie is just, highly regarded. I didn't really add anything new to that discussion, right? But as an action head, I did say my piece. I did say my part. Weirdly enough, I liked the second one the most, and you said you liked the third one the most.
Oh, in terms of action.
In terms of action.
In terms of the live action films, I surprisingly like the action in the third movie. Although I don't know if I could say it's the best of the live.
No one's saying that's the best.
No.
Movie.
I meant like there's a lot of weapons action in the third movie, which I like. I don't know if I could say it's the action I like best. I think.
Oh, okay, sure.
I mean, the first, it's just so weird. These movies, the first 2 in particular, the action is so fast. It's like if you look away, you might just miss everything in a moment, because there's just I guess they're just trying to work around the MPAA. They're trying to desensitize the violence as much as they could, because these characters, they shouldn't be for children, but they are, and they tried to make a movie around it, and they tried to work within the limitations of what is allowed for a children's movie.
Yep. That
It's
summarizes.
weird.
Yeah.
It's just a weird turn of events.
You are summarizing the Ninja Turtles in a nutshell right there, because based off of their MO and their everything that makes them them. It sounds like something that would be more mature rated, but it's like, well, this is still catering towards kids,
Right?
So how you make that work? They somehow made it work. The first movie is like this weird blend that. I mean, like, for example, the scene where like all the kids, there's like a hideout of the foot soldiers, and there's a kid smoking a cigar, and like I'm like that blew my mind as a kid.
Yeah, seeing that now, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, but I was like, but actually watching it again, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. They're supposed to be hooligans, right? Like, fine, but it's just like it blows my mind. So like the first movie, tonally, is just like it's like its own thing, and then as movies go on, it's like. It gets goofier and goofier, and then the CGI movie decides to be its own like hybrid thing. It's like now we're a completely different thing again. So it's just this is one of the strangest franchises, strangest series that we've ever covered because they're just tonally all over the place. It's very hard to believe that these are in the same universe or same timeline. But I don't know where I was going with this.
So, Will, would you recommend the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action trilogy plus CGI film?
It's because they're all so loosely related. I would recommend the first movie because you have to. I would be stabbed by Leo if I didn't
No, you
recommend
wouldn't.
the first movie. Yeah.
He wouldn't stab you.
He would stab his swords into the ceiling and kick me.
Yeah.
No, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. But here's the thing: I don't love the movie. I don't. It's one of those like but I love the making of movies. I love movie making process, and this is one of those movies that's like fascinating because of that, because of Jim Henson's work, because like all the martial arts prowess that went into like these, everything that's happening in suits. Like all these things are so impressive to me. I don't really care so much about the movie though. I've watched the first movie so many times, and this is the second time we're covering it on this show, and I still feel nothing. Like I don't feel a lot for the first movie as a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just impressed by it. And then the other movies are just, I don't have much to say about them in terms of being memorable films. They're not really memorable. People don't talk in high regards about the second or third movie.
I think people kind of talk about the second movie because of Vanilla Ice.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, because of the camp factor.
Yeah,
I take it back. The second movie's perfect because Vanilla Ice. But yeah, I think the other movies are not really recommends. Maybe the second one because Ernie Reyes Jr. And then the weapons stuff in the third is fine too. But like they're not really good to sit through the movies as a whole. Yeah. And then the CGI movie exists, and it's weird. It's a weird movie. Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed it. It's definitely paced. Well, like the pacing in the movie's fine. The story's not good, but the pacing in the movies, like it's a little
snappy.
bit more engaging.
Like it just There's like no fat on that. They just jump from next scene to next scene to next scene to next scene.
Yeah. So those are my takes. Zero, you are the Turtles fan.
Yeah.
You have a more definitive answer than I do.
Well, I mean, it's not too dissimilar from yours. Like I am a Turtles fan. I grew up like that. This is one of the few IPs that I like because it fails and it keeps on reinventing itself, and I appreciate that. Like the third movie failed, so like, okay, let's do CGI. CGI movie didn't do well. Let's try live action again, but this time with CGI characters. Like those failed. Let's do animated again. And like it's new creators constantly trying new things with it. It's not like we're on Turtles 7 right now or something like that, where it's still continuing the story because they don't want to let go of the original storyline or the actors in the IP or whatever. So I kind of like that it keeps on every few years it kind of keeps coming back because they're trying something new with it. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's, with the exception of the Michael Bay movies, which maybe we'll talk about one day.
What? No.
Oh, okay. I think we
No.
need to. But with the exception of the Michael Bay movies, I feel like every time it comes back, they try something new, and I think sometimes it's like one step forward, but sometimes two steps back.
Sure.
But the latest iteration, we did a quick jab on it. So if you want to listen to it, subscribe to us on Patreon. But I did like that one because because it's different. It's more teenager friendly. Feels like teenagers.
Sure.
But anyway, original trilogy, first one. You gotta watch it. It's if you're a Turtles fan, it's like the mandatory watch, right? If you're an adult with kids, I think you'll be surprised that it's so serious and so dark with its subject matter while still being kind of jovial and kid friendly at times. But yeah, it's the one that's closest to being a real movie.
That sounds like a diss, but it's, I can see. I know what you're talking about. But it sounds like
I'm comparing the four of them, like as a whole, like
it's
actually a movie, and it feels like a real movie, and it looks like a real movie because of the lighting and everything. Second movie is probably my favorite because I watched it the most.
Okay, yeah.
And it's so cheesy. I know it's cheesy, but I think that's why I like it. And the Vanilla Ice stuff at the end, it's hilarious. It's funny because when that came out, I feel like everybody hated that Vanilla Ice scene. Like, oh, like it ruined it. It's so lame. Vanilla Ice is like, he's not, he's not a real rapper. Blah blah blah. Like everybody made complaints about it, and then
he is the ultimate rapper, right?
Yeah. Now time has really shown that, oh yeah, this is so dumb, but it's kind of embracing that, and it's fun, and it's silly, and it's the most entertaining one out of the four.
Yeah. I think the camp factor of the second
Campiness
movie is kind of. I think that's why I weirdly enjoyed the second one. It's different. It's very different from the first movie, but still love it. But still, it's entertaining.
Exactly. Third movie.
So third
movie is boring. I said everything I said about the weapon stuff, which I think is neat, and then them trying to do a little bit of character work, but it's just boring. It's hard. You can't recommend it. I don't know anybody who would recommend the third one, honestly.
Yeah.
And then
Eastman and Laird, they'll recommend it. They're the creators.
Yeah. And then the CGI movie, it's got a really good fight between Raph and Leo, and their story is really good when it comes to developing them as characters, but it's the B plot. And we don't spend as much time with it as I would like because the A plot just sucks. I hate the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo plot that they have with that. So yeah, that's my rec on the 4 Ninja Turtles movie.
Sure.
And
if there's
do
you have an ender for this?
well, I was gonna say, like, as a Ninja Turtles fan, coming to a decision on which movie you should watch, it's obviously going to be the first one. So
there's no better way of ending this than that.
So watch the first movie. Maybe you'll come, maybe you won't.
And watch the second movie so you'll get that reference.